Okay, it says we're live. And there we are.
Yay!
Hey,
I probably should make sure this sound is off. Huh?
okay. Looks good.
Hey!
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Oh,
Yeah,
doing good.
it is.
Hey, cool Judy.
Feeling good. Tom.
Tom Parks. Diana Wright. Who's your dad? Who's your daddy? Ah,
Oh, it's 2 o'clock and time for episode number 208 of What Does This Button Do? It's an educational show about smartphones and technology with us Geeks on Tour. All right, we're on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're on YouTube, go ahead and click that subscribe and click the bell and get notified for these things. It's a good thing to do. So if you're using Google Photos at all, Chris.
our topic today is trying to understand the difference between Google Photos and the native Photos app on your phone. If you're on a we're talking about Samsung Gallery and Apple Photos, and we're going to show you some good reasons, I think, why, if you're going to use Google Photos at all, stop using those other two. And that's what there'll be a lot of explaining here.
You got some explaining to do. You ready?
First, we have a quick tip before we get into the main body, and that is that if you are using Google Photos, understand how they get uploaded to the cloud. Hi, this is Chris Gould with Geeks on Tour, and in this tutorial video, I'm going to show you about in Google Photos, the Google Photos cloud or not. I'm going to show you on both an Android phone and an iPhone and the computer to try to get the whole idea, so follow along. Tour, and in this tutorial video I'm going to show you about in Google Photos how to know if the photos you just took with your phone.
Well, plan B.
Were you all hearing sound on that?
Oh, my fault.
Oh, they were hearing it.
They were hearing it. I wasn't. That was my fault. There
Have
we go.
made it up to the Google Photos cloud or not. I'm going to show you on both an Android phone and an iPhone and the computer to try to get the whole idea, so follow along. This is my Android phone, my Samsung, and if I go into Google Photos, you'll see these first 8 photos of these little figurines. So I just took these pictures and I want to know, have they been uploaded? Well, you say I opened up Google Photos and I see them, right? But no, I'm seeing them because they were taken on this phone, on this device. So for example, if I go to my iPad and open Google Photos, I do not see those 8 photos of the figurine. So that tells me that no, the photos I just took with my Android phone have not made it up to the Google Photos cloud. So what do I do about it? Right on the phone, I can see this little up arrow on my account bubble icon here. If you tap there, that little up arrow means that there are photos waiting to be uploaded. And sure enough, when I tap on it, I see the message, waiting for Wi-Fi. Okay, 8 items left, so that would be those 8 photos. So let me turn on Wi-Fi. And now we see that that little up arrow icon has turned blue and the dots are rolling around. If I tap there, it's telling me, backing up. 8 items left, 4 items left. So indeed, it is now copying from this phone to Google Photos in the cloud. Backup complete, that's what you want to see. But I still don't even trust that. I want to see that those photos are visible on another device that didn't take the photos That way I know for sure that they are in the Google Photos cloud. So here's my iPad again, and there is Google Photos, and sure enough, there are the 8 photos of the figurines. Great, so that's my Android phone. Now I also took some pictures with my iPhone. I open up Google Photos with my iPhone, and oh, looky there, there's the figurines, the pictures that were taken with my Android, so that's good. But then there's these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures of flowers. Now the iPhone has one other little indicator. See that circular arrow? The little badge in the corner of each photo. I love that. I wish the Android had that. That means that that photo is waiting to be uploaded. But I'd still have the same account bubble in the upper right with the same arrow telling me that there's something waiting to be uploaded. Tap the bubble and it says waiting for Wi-Fi, 5 items left. So I need to turn on Wi-Fi. Now that arrow turns blue, I tap the icon, it tells me that 5 items are backing up. This can go fast or slow depending on the internet connection, and that looked like it was going slow, but then all of a sudden it was done. So now the circular arrow is gone. I can look at my Android phone and just wait, and there are the flowers that came from the iPhone because I'm looking at the same Google account. Now last, let's look at it on the computer. So here is my Google Photos, and it was already open. So one thing you need to know, they will never appear if you just sit here and watch. You do have to refresh your browser screen. And now there are the 8 figurines and the 5 flowers. So it is Google's Photos job to upload your photos from your phones to the Google Photos account in the cloud, but it's your job to verify that it got done.
All right.
Very important thing to know. So
Very
I do
important.
think everybody should check that little account button. I see that somebody in the comments said that hers is telling her there are 3,603 photos waiting to be uploaded. That tells me that there are 3,603 photos on the phone that have not been uploaded to the Google Photos cloud. Now, she said she transferred them to her computer. Okay. So they're on your computer, but are they in your Google Photos cloud? Photos.google.com. All right.
All right. Well, hi everyone. I'm Jim, and here with my wife Chris, we are Geeks on Tour. And you think your smartphone is smarter than you, and you have questions about your Android phones or your iPhones or your iPads, and how do you learn about these amazing devices?
Well, we are geeks, also known as propeller heads. That's why the funny little hats. Geeks who teach. We believe that the best way to learn is in bite-sized pieces on a regular basis. So we do this YouTube show regularly, and we pick a topic and we go into a little bit of depth on each topic. This is episode 208, so that means 208 different topics we've covered. You can see them all archived on our website at geeksontour.com.
All right, Chris, where are we now?
We're home. We're still home, but
We're going to be leaving.
we're getting on the road tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to get on the road and we're going to go all the way up to Georgia. There's some work for us up there, and we've been kind of looking forward to it. It's a big rally. It's the FMCA, the Family Motor Coach Association's 102nd International Convention. They had to postpone last year's. They had to cancel it and postpone it because of this COVID stuff. And they're going to hold it this year, and they have a lot of restrictions and a lot of safety measures in place. And I hope everybody is nice and safe.
We've already gotten both shots, so I'm feeling comfortable about it.
Yeah, we'll still do the mask up and we'll still do the social distancing to save the other people or to at least keep them safe. Yeah. Hi to our live viewers. We got a bunch of us here. Bonnie and Linda and Huey and Michael and gosh, Nancy. Who else is there? Ron. Ron was here first. All right. Anybody else? Oh, thank you, Michael. You're a heck of a
Michael.
wonderful man. Even if
Isn't he, though?
All right. Thank you. Our premium members make our work possible. And if you want to become a member, you can do that at geeksontour.com/join now.
And that was the word from our sponsor, right?
Yeah, that's the word from our sponsor.
We don't have any sponsors.
No, it's you.
Our
Yes.
members.
And Backstage Pass for our members only. That's one of the great benefits. It's a Zoom meeting after this show. We'll get you should get the link from the email that Chris sends out earlier, or it's on our website, geeksontour.com, and the member login. Just be logged in, click on the link, and you'll get the link for the pass.
Okay. So we're going to dive into this topic now. First, there's some terminology and concepts. I want to make sure that we're all on the same page with how I'm using these words. So cloud, when I say cloud, I'm just talking about somewhere in the internet. I'm not talking about a particular cloud. If I'm talking about a particular cloud, I will say Apple iCloud or Google Photos cloud. But just cloud means it's somewhere out there, not on your device. And if something is in the cloud and you want it on your device, that is downloading. If something is on your device and you want it in the cloud, that is uploading. Next term is gallery apps. So a gallery app, and notice the lowercase g, because the gallery app that comes with Samsung is called Gallery with a capital G. But a gallery app is a simple tool on a phone to manage, organize images and videos that are on your phone. So a gallery app is a local app just to your phone. No cloud storage or backup involved. So if you look at the picture of the phone in the hand, Google Photos icon. Yeah, Google Photos is the native gallery app for Pixel phones. If any of you out there have a Pixel phone, most of what I'm talking about today doesn't apply to you because Google Photos is your native gallery app. So there is no other to compare it to. But on Apple, on iPhones, your native gallery app looks like that little flowery icon, and it's just called Photos. I will call it Apple Photos just to make the distinction between Apple and Google Photos. Then on the Samsung, the gallery, the capital G gallery, Samsung Gallery is the native gallery app. And all three of those apps, Google Photos, Apple Photos, and Samsung Gallery, are meant to manage the photos that are on your device in the camera roll. You take a photo with the camera, it's stored in the camera roll. Then whatever gallery app you choose to use manages the photos on the device in the camera roll. So, and there's lots of other ones. I mean, people think that they have to use what came with the phone. No, look at all these other gallery apps. If there's features that you want, you can maybe find another gallery app you like even better. And there's not as many, but there are other gallery apps for the iPhone as well. I do not recommend any of those. I recommend Google Photos.
Of course you do.
You think?
Yeah, she wrote the book.
You think? Okay. So one more terminology is cloud storage and backup. So the gallery app is for local management of photos. Then you could have some other app, for example, Dropbox. Dropbox will upload some files from your phone to cloud storage for backup purposes. Cloud storage can be for any kind of files. The goal is to keep your stuff safe. If you lose your phone, your data is still safe in the cloud if it has been backed up to cloud storage. But that's for any kind of files, not just photos. Google Photos uploads photos and videos to the Google Photos section of Google's cloud, your account. On Apple, it's iCloud. So the iCloud service uploads photos, videos, mail, contact, calendars, notes, and lots of other data. That's Apple's iCloud. And then just for example, Microsoft OneDrive is a service that will upload from your phone to the cloud for safekeeping videos, photos, documents, sheets, all
Any
sorts
kind
of stuff.
Files.
Any kind of files. Next term is synchronize, or we just shorten it down to sync. So when a file exists in two places and you change or delete it in one place, that change or deletion will automatically happen to the other copy on the synced device. So that's what sync means. A change on one side makes the change on the other. So those are all pieces of what I'm calling total photo management. Number one, you need a gallery to view, edit, create, and organize photos on your phone. Number two, you want a cloud backup. You don't want to lose your phone and lose all your photos. And number three, that I really have gotten used to this, cross-platform tools. I want to be able to see my photos, organize them, edit them, make creations out of them, and share them from any device. I don't want to have the phone that took the photos or my computer. So Samsung Gallery, all it does is number one, it is an on-device tool. Apple Photos plus iCloud, you have to turn on iCloud if you're using Apple Photos and you want it to go to the cloud. So that does 1 and 2. And Google Photos is the only one of these anyway that does all three. It's a local gallery. It does do the cloud backup, and I can use all the tools on whatever device I choose. All right, so I'm going to do some demos here, and just Samsung and iPhone are my two demos. And I'm going to do Samsung first. Now, if you're watching this video, recorded, and you want to flip straight to the iPhone, you can. There'll be chapter headings below, but I really encourage you to watch it all, because the concepts are the same, and it's very instructional to learn how it's done on one versus the other. So I'm going to do Samsung first, and the point is for you to use Google Photos instead of the native gallery app. And the same concept applies to other Android phones with a different native gallery app. And then I'm going to do iPhone, once again, trying to convince you to use Google Photos instead of the native Apple Photos app. And if you have a Pixel, you're golden. Google Photos is your native app. It comes with it. It's the only one that comes with it, and you're good to go. So for Samsung demo, the point is, do you use the Samsung Gallery, that red flower one, or the Google Photos? And number one, how do you know which app you're using? And number two, so I'm going to do number 1 and 2 together here. Prove that both apps are viewing the same photo. So here's my Samsung, and I'm going to take a photo of Jim. So I just tap on the camera app, right? I mean, Google Photos doesn't take pictures. The camera is what takes pictures. So I snap a picture. Oh, I got to snap a couple. You can't just take one, right?
Oh,
All
good.
right. So now we're going to look at the phone.
All right.
And I still have it's still just on the camera app, right? You can tell because there's the shutter button there. I could take another photo. Now, a lot of people will tap on that little miniature of the picture I just took. I say, no, don't do that. Go out to home and see on my phone and on yours, I'm pretty sure if you have a Samsung, you will have two choices, the Samsung Gallery and the Google Photos. I say use the Google Photos. And there are the two pictures I just took of Jim plus an accident photo there. Now, how can I tell that I'm in Google Photos here? Well, it says Google Photos at the top. But if I start scrolling down, that Google Photos goes away. Or if I tap on one photo, the Google Photos goes away. So I want you to get comfortable with these buttons down at the bottom. When you're out at the main group of photos, you'll see Photos, Search, and Library. That you know you're in Google Photos. If you're on one photo, probably the most distinctive button here is Lens. So when I have a picture of flowers up and I tap Lens, it will tell me what kind of flower that is. And that is very unique to Google Photos. So if you see the Lens button, when you're looking at a photo, you know that you're looking at that photo in Google Photos. Now, I go back to home and I tap on Gallery. I see the same pictures. Why? Have they been copied to both places? No. There's only one photo. It's in the camera roll, but both Gallery and Google Photos see that picture. Okay, make sure I'm remembering everything. So how do I prove to you that it is the same picture? I'm going to go and open Photos in Google. So which app am I in now?
Google Photos.
That's because it says Google Photos at the top. Okay. So now I'm going to take this picture of Jim and I'm going to edit it using Google Photos and I'm going to crop. I'm going to crop that light out. I'm going to get just real close to his face. Oh, isn't that a good looking guy there, huh? And I think maybe I'll put a vignette on him. I really like vignettes. And it's all the way at the end over here. So vignette there. So we have a little bit of a vignette and I save that. It gives me a choice to just save that picture or to save a copy. I just want to save that picture. And now I'm going to go back to Gallery and show you that that picture is the edited picture. Why? Because it's the same picture in the camera roll and both Gallery and Google Photos are looking at it. All right. So then back to here. So that was how do you know which app you're using is get used to the way the menus look and prove that both apps are viewing the same photo. Okay, now how do you know what photos are in the cloud? Well, for that, I want to take you to the computer. So okay. On the computer, I'm going to go to Google Photos. Photos.google.com. And now this page was already waiting there. I don't see the picture of Jim, but if I just refresh, there it is. So the picture of Jim has made it up to the cloud. So how many copies are there of this picture? I just want you to think about that. I will give you the answer. So on the phone, hopefully I proved to you that it's only there once. Then Google Photos got a hold of it and copied it to the cloud. So there are 2 copies. Now, what happens when you delete? Which copies are you deleting? That's so important to know. And it's different whether you use the Samsung Gallery to delete or whether you use Google Photos to delete. I think you should get used to just using Google Photos. And here's a little video to make sure I didn't forget anything. Hi, this is Chris Gould with Geeks on Tour and Learn Google Photos. In this video, I'm going to be showing you why on an Samsung or other Android device you should use Google Photos to delete the photos instead of the built-in gallery that came with your phone. Let me show you what I mean. First of all, I'm talking about these 2 apps. This is Google Photos. This is the Samsung Gallery that came native on this phone. I've just taken 3 pictures that I want to delete, and I want you to see them using both apps. So I open up Google Photos, and there you see 3 photos. Delete me, 1, 2, and 3. I see the same photos using Gallery, delete me, 1, 2, and 3. Now, how many copies of each of these photos are there? That's what I really want you to think about. When you take a picture, it goes onto your camera roll. So if I take a picture and it's immediately on the camera roll, I call that the on-device copy, and Google Photos sees that copy right away. Then, if you have the backup and sync turned on, which I always do on my Google Photos, then it is copying the on-device copy to the cloud in your Google account. Therefore, each of these has 2 copies, one on the device and one in the cloud. So first I'm going to show you deleting with the gallery. I open Gallery, I open the first Delete Me photo, and I tap the trash can. Move one image to the trash, move to trash. Now, how many copies did that delete? That deleted the on-device copy. My Samsung Gallery app only has access to the on-device copy. If I go to Google Photos, that picture is still there, but this one is the cloud copy that I'm now seeing. Now for the picture number 2, I'm going to use Google Photos trash. So I opened that one photo, and notice this looks different here. I'm using Google Photos now, not the gallery. When I tap delete here, Google gives me a message that this will remove it from the Google account. That means the cloud copy, and the synced devices. That means the on-device copy. So I move to trash. Now let's go back to Gallery and see that number 2, both number 1 and number 2 are gone now. So Google Photos does delete the on-device copy, which is what Gallery is seeing. Now what if you say, but I only want to delete the on-device copy, so don't I need to use Gallery to do that? No. In Google Photos, so I'm going to now show you the third way in Google Photos. If I open up this third Delete Me and I just swipe up on it, I get the option to delete from device. So when I do that, it's delete from device. Item will remain in your Google account, and delete it. So now I still see that one using my Google Photos app, but if I go to Gallery, it is gone. All 3 of them are gone. So to sum that up, first you need to realize how many copies of a photo you have. When you take a photo, you get 1 copy that is on the device in the camera roll. As soon as Google Photos gets the opportunity, it copies it to the cloud, so you now have 2. When you use the native gallery app, it can only delete the on-device copy. So I say do not use the gallery app. Get accustomed to using Google Photos because you can do both. With the trash can, it deletes both on-device copy and cloud copy. If you want to delete only the device copy, you can do that with a single photo by swiping up and choosing Delete from Device. Or with multiple photos, you select them and then the three-dot menu and Delete from Device. If you want to delete all the photos on the device, that's what the Google Photos Free Up Space command is for.
Great. Good.
Quite a few questions.
No time to get to them.
won't be able to get to them. If you remember and you come backstage, we can deal with them there. But it also just points out this is more complex than they would make you think. There's so which is my main reason for saying use Google Photos. Pick the one app. If you use Google Photos, now, you don't have to. If you choose to use something else, okay. But whatever you choose to use, learn it and use only it. Don't keep going back and forth between two different apps because you're going to get messed up. They both have learning curves. Google Photos and Gallery have learning curves. So Google Photos stores your lifetime of photos in the cloud. Gallery only sees the photos on your phone. So, and if you make albums, somebody mentioned albums. If you make albums with Gallery, you won't see them in Google Photos because albums are a creation of the app that made them. So a Gallery album is only in Gallery. A Google Photos album is only in Google Photos. So spend your time with one app. One exception, and here I have to show you this because Gallery has some cool features that Google Photos doesn't have. And for making creations like collages, and it has some editing features that Google Photos doesn't have. You can use Gallery just for those special features, and when you save it, Google Photos will see it. And I need to show you that because this really is pretty cool. So I'm going to go into Gallery, and here are all the pictures on my phone, and we've been doing some gardening around here. So let's say I really like this picture of the orchids. I will select it, and that picture, all these kind of gardening pictures, a wheelbarrow, show that we've done some work. Okay, I have 6 pictures selected. I'm in Gallery, right? This does not look like Google Photos. I'm in Gallery, 3 dots, and create collage. If you've ever created a collage in Google Photos, you know that it is one of its weakest features. It does not do a good job at collages. So look at this. In Gallery, I have all of these different collage layouts. Thank you. And if I choose one, well, that's probably the prettiest one to go there anyway. But let's say I want to show that we were working hard. So I want the wheelbarrow to go in that bigger spot. I can just drag it in there and it swaps places. And then you can change the width of the borders, and you can add text to it. You can do all sorts of stuff using Gallery. But as soon as I save it, it's saved to this device. And Google Photos sees photos that are on this device, right? So there it is. There is the collage in my Google Photos library that I just created in Gallery. So that's the one exception. You can use your native app if it has some features that Google Photos doesn't have. All right. So now we're on to the iPhone.
Oh boy.
And on the iPhone, I want to do the same things. How do you know which one you're using? we're talking about Apple Photos versus Google Photos. So how do you know which one you're using? Only make albums in your primary app and prove that both apps are viewing the same photo. Okay, so how do you know the difference? Google Photos looks like Google Photos on any other device. It says Google Photos at the top. If you're just in, is that blurry?
Yeah, a little bit.
It should be better.
There you go.
Okay. And if you are in a particular photo, you should see the lens button. So I know that I'm in Google Photos here. And if I go to Apple Photos, it looks completely different. We have library, for you, albums, and search. And the library, it does not say Google Photos on it. This is Apple Photos. All right. So, and it looks very different. So hopefully that will make sense. If you bring up a photo, there is no edit button down at the bottom. It says edit up at the top. And this looks fairly different. All right. So Apple Photos versus Google Photos. Now let's take a picture. So I'm just going to open the camera of my iPhone and hold up. Yeah, Jim is going to be my Vanna here. And I have something that says delete me.
Yeah, it does. You can't see it though.
Oh, you can't.
What'd you do?
I'm taking a picture.
Okay.
Delete me, number 1. Delete me, number 2. And delete me, number 3. And I think that's all I need.
That one we'll see.
Delete me, number 3.
It's on a different color.
So here I am in the iPhone's camera. And if I tap on that little miniature, which app do you think it's going to open?
Apple Photos.
This is an Apple phone. It's going to open the Apple Photos app. If I tap there, I am looking at Apple Photos. And I don't want to use Apple Photos. I want to use Google Photos. So I'm going to press the home button to go out to the home screen and choose Google Photos app. I am seeing the same photos. And to prove it, I'm going to tap on this delete me, number 1. And using Google Photos, I'm going to turn it black and white. So edit and black and white and save. Now, on the Apple is more protective of its space. So this is saying, well, this is going to edit the photo that's on this device, and this isn't an Apple program. Are you sure? Are you going to allow this? Yes, absolutely. I am going to allow it. Now I go back to the Apple Photos and look at that. It is black and white. So the photo is on there once. 2 apps are looking at it and working with it. Okay. Now, what clouds are being used here? First, let me show you on the computer. I can go to Google Photos, photos.google.com, and there they are. So Google Photos has successfully copied the 3 photos I just took, and it synchronized the edit. So I see those 3 photos. But what about Apple? First, you need to know that iCloud must be turned on. Just the Apple Photos app itself doesn't have a setting. You have to go into your settings. So back to the phone. Back to the phone, and you go into settings. And right at the very top there, iCloud. So with iCloud, you want to see if Photos, iCloud, Photos needs to be turned on. I mean, if that is off, then your photos from your iPhone are not going to the Apple iCloud. They're just not. And a lot of people do it this way because you only get 5 gigabytes free, and there's no compression. So, you got to pay. You got to pay a good few dollars in order to use the Apple Photos. So a lot of people turn that off. I have it on. So if it's on, what does that mean? Let me view the photos in the Apple Cloud. And that is at iCloud.com. And you have to log in with your Apple ID, not your Google. This is a totally different cloud. So your Apple ID, and we will see photos. There are the photos here. So there they are, but there's only 1,566 of them, whereas my Google Photos has nearly 100,000. Why? Because this is just the ones that I take with my iPhone, whereas I use Google Photos to upload everything in my life. All right, where am I?
Good question.
Let's see if there's some burning questions. No, okay. So I've done how to know whether you're using the Apple Photos or the Google Photos, and to prove that both apps are viewing the same local photo, the one that's on the device, and we've viewed them in Apple's iCloud. All right. Now, only make albums in your primary app. So back to Apple Photos. And if I go to albums and I say, I tap a plus and I say new album, and I'll call it gardening and save. And then I'll put, that's always, and Apple is just exactly backwards of Google. The most recent photo is at the bottom, and you have to travel up to go back in time. And so there's a photo, there's a photo, there's a photo, and there's squirrels in the garden. So I've made an album called Gardening in Apple Photos. I guarantee you, when I go to Google Photos, albums are under library in Google Photos, and you will not see an album called Gardening because I made it in Apple Photos. That's where it lives. And the last thing to show you on iPhone is deleting. So if I delete a photo with Apple Photos, does it delete from Google Photos? No. Why? Because if not the Google Photos cloud. Now it is deleting the local photo, but Google has 2 copies, right? So I go into Apple Photos, all photos, and here's that one that says delete me. I tap the trash can. Delete photo. This photo will be deleted from iCloud Photos on all your devices, and I will explain that in a minute. So I delete photo. I go back to Google Photos, and we'll see that it is still there. But why? because this photo is in the cloud. I'm viewing it in the cloud. If you remember from the video earlier, if I swipe up, I should see delete from device, and I don't. Why? Because this photo is no longer on the device. Apple Photos deleted it from the device. This is the cloud copy that I'm seeing here. So now the opposite. If I delete a photo using Google Photos, does it delete from Apple Photos? Yes, if you allow it. So let me explain that. So I'm going to do the delete me number 2. And what app am I in? Take a look. Do you see the lens button?
Here in
Yes,
Google
you do.
Photos.
So you are in Google Photos here, and I tap the trash can to delete, and it asks, it's saying, hey, this photo is on this Apple device. Are you going to allow a third-party app, Google Photos, to delete it? Yes. This photo will be deleted from iCloud Photos on all your devices. Delete. So that was the second one. And I'll go over to Apple Photos and notice that there's only one of those delete me's left now. So Google can delete from the device, and then iCloud synchronizes that deletion to the cloud. That photo is gone. One last thing. What if I deleted that using the cloud version of Google Photos? You think they're still with me?
I'm not even with you.
I know. The hardest thing is to make something simple, and I did this.
Yeah.
I might need to keep working on that. But if you're still with me, there is one last thing. So many people like using the web version of Google Photos. So here I am on the web using Google Photos. And here's one last picture that needs to be deleted. Now, remember when I deleted it using Google Photos on the iPhone, it asked for permission. The cloud version, the web version of Google Photos has no connection to the phone, so it can't ask for permission. So watch this. I'm going to delete. It says, remove from your Google account, sync devices and places shared within Google Photos. Yes, move to trash. But if I go back to the iPhone, it is gone from Google Photos. That was the pink one, right? Yeah, it is gone from Google Photos because Google Photos on the web had that permission. But it's still there in Apple Photos until you give it permission. Now, where is it asking for that permission? In Google Photos, under Library and Utilities. It says, you deleted this item from a different device. Remove it from this device? Yes. You have to give permission in the Apple world to do that. So it's just one more step, but you need to know it's there. It's kind of hidden. All right. I'll stop now.
Are you sure?
Well, there's still another slide summing it all up.
Yeah.
But as far as demo.
Okay.
I'm
Here we
done.
go. Google Photo Cloud versus Apple iCloud.
So here's why I was saying that when you delete from the phone in the Apple world, it deletes from all your other devices, because that has nothing to do with Google Photos. It has all to do with Apple's iCloud. Google Photo has a different philosophy than Apple does. In Google Photos, it gathers pictures from all your devices. Everything goes to the cloud, and that's where it stays. Once it's in the cloud, Google couldn't care less whether the device that originally took the picture is still around. It doesn't matter. The goal is to get everything to the cloud. Everything stays in the cloud. Whereas Apple's iCloud has a completely different purpose. iCloud is intended to keep all your Apple devices in sync. If you add a photo to one device, it gets added to all the other devices. If you delete a photo from one device, it gets deleted from every other device. So that's why if you let Google Photos delete a photo from your iPhone, it's iCloud that deletes it from everywhere else.
That's not confusing.
Yeah, when I started putting this class together, I thought, God, there's so much more than... So bottom line, if you use Google Photos, don't use Apple Photos. I mean, if you decide you like Apple Photos, you have a Mac, everything works great together in that whole universe, then that's fine. But use the Apple Photos then as your primary and Google Photos as your backup. But if you're going to use Google Photos, use it. Stop using the Apple Photos.
And Chris says to use Google Photos.
Right. They both have a learning curve. You know, if you're bouncing back and forth, you'll get confused.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think this pointed out. So stick with one. And Google Photos works with both iPhone and Android. iCloud only works with Apple devices.
Very important distinction.
If you make albums with Apple Photos, you won't see them in Google Photos. And we still have one exception, just like on the Android in the gallery world. Apple Photos has a couple of features that Google Photos doesn't. For example, adding text to a photo. So I lied. I am going to show you one more thing. Just like Steve Jobs, right? One more thing.
On the Apple, one more thing.
On the Apple, on the iPhone, I'm going to go into Apple Photos. And this picture of Jim, I want his name on there. The Apple version of Google Photos can't do that. But I can do it in Apple Photos, and then Google will see it. So you edit. It's really hidden, though. So if you don't know how to do this and you want to, you're probably going to have to watch this part of the video a couple times, okay? So you open a photo in Apple Photos, you tap Edit. Then it's the three-dot menu at the top and Markup. Then it's the plus at the bottom and Text. And I find it easiest to set the colors and the size at this point. So I want to make it yellow. I want to make it bigger. I want to make it that nice little font. And I want to move it down here. Then I double tap on it and I can type. I tap done and done. Now Jim's picture has his name on it. And it has been saved to this device. I can go back to Google Photos and that one. Oh, what couldn't be those because those were taken with the Samsung. But there it is. So if you want to put text, you can do it with the Apple Photos, save it, then the Google Photos sees it.
Well, how about that?
All right.
You sure?
I'm sure.
I don't believe you. Okay, conclusion. The geeks say, pick one photo app as your primary app for working with photos and learn it, and then designate another app as your backup. We think Google Photos is the best primary app for managing your photos, and we use Microsoft's OneDrive or Amazon Photos as our backup. And if you're paying for those things already, it's no big deal. All right. Wow. Did you learn something? Chris, it's Google's Photos job to upload your photos to the cloud. It's your job
To make sure it got done. Because, I mean, like somebody in the audience here said, they looked and they have 3,600 photos waiting to be uploaded because the phone hadn't been connected to Wi-Fi. So it's your job to check.
Okay. If you take a photo with your iPhone and both iCloud and Google Photos are backing up to the cloud, how many copies do you have of your photo? A1, B2, C3, D4.
There's one copy on the phone, then there's one in Google Photos Cloud, and there's one in Apple iCloud. So the answer is C3.
If you take a photo with your Samsung, then tap the miniature photo from the camera, you will be viewing the photo using what app? A, Samsung Gallery, B, Google Photos, C, Apple Photos, or D, Amazon Photos?
Samsung Gallery. And there's nothing you can do about that. So just don't go to your photos from the camera.
Oh, jump one. True or false? Except for special features of Apple Photos and Samsung Gallery, you should use the Google Photos app for everything to do with your photos.
That's my advice.
According to Chris, that's true. Okay. And if you make a collage using Samsung Gallery, you'll see the collage in Google Photos.
True. Absolutely true. I noticed that one person did comment, yeah, I'm so confused. I'm sorry. Well, it is confusing. The point is, if you're going to use Google Photos, make sure that when you're working with your photos, you are in Google Photos, not the Samsung Gallery, not the Apple Photos. And if you have the book, this is all on page 29. I didn't go into anywhere near as much detail, but it's on page 29
With all the detail.
of the Learn Google Photos book.
Great. All right. So this is just about it. I want to remind our premium members about the Backstage Pass Zoom meeting right after this. And we'll be back there in just a few minutes. You can get that link from an email that Chris sends out to all of our premium members. Or if you didn't get it or can't find it, go to our website, geeksontour.com, click on the menu item, member login, and the link is there. Sign up for our free newsletters. Members get the 2020 edition of the book now, geeksontour.com/ebooks, and there's a new piece in there. There's the preface that we just put in there for the Spiral Bound books. It'll be up on Amazon and Kindle soon. Become a member, subscribe to the channel. Chris, what's the webpage that lists all of our YouTube shows?
Geeksontour.com, and the menu item is YouTube show.
And the webpage lists all of our recent newsletters.
Geeksontour.com, and the menu item is blogs and news. Newsletters are under there.
Okay, become a member. Backstage Pass. That's it for us. I'm Jim.
I'm Chris. We can't take any questions.
You want to take a question?
I want to take
you
a couple
can do
questions.
Whatever you want, honey. What do you want?
Well, I just see one person says, Stephen Turney says, can I delete a photo from Google Photos or an album without deleting it from the device? So you mean you want to delete it from the cloud, but not from the device? No, not easily at all. And just realize, because it's Google Photos' job to keep everything in the cloud, it doesn't care about your device. It lets you delete from there. But if you want to delete it from Google in the cloud, it assumes that you just don't want that photo at all anymore. So there are ways, but you really have to work around to do that. And somebody says that they don't have the Apple Photos app on their iPhone. Do they need it? You have it somewhere, because it is a native app. You cannot remove it from your device. You can remove it from a home screen, but it will still be in your apps library. So it is there, but yeah, removing it from a home screen would be a good thing to do so you don't use it accidentally.
Yeah. Only talks about Google Photos. I'm confused.
Yeah, you do not have to go back. My point is stick with Google Photos, but recognize what the other one looks like so that you don't accidentally end up there.
All right.
Okay. And if you're a member, we'll join you in the backstage pass and answer questions there.
All right. That's it for us this week. We hope everybody stays safe. Another thanks to our premium members. Gosh, we got a lot of work to do.
Wait, Dad.
One more thing.
Here's one I got to answer. Richard Jenks says on page 104 of your book, that got me. He has my book. On page 104 of your book, you say that adding text to a photo is Android only. Now, I demonstrated adding text on an iPhone. Yeah, but not with Google Photos. Remember, this book is about Google Photos. Google Photos on the iPhone does not have a way to add text.
Yeah.
But the Apple Photos does. That's what I demonstrated. You can use Apple Photos, add text, save it, then Google Photos sees the results.
Chuck wants to know the best way to add text to an album photo.
To an album photo.
In Google Photos.
Well, but adding text to a photo, maybe you're talking about the text blocks, and that would be in chapter 8 on using albums to make a story. You can have actual text blocks in between photos in an album. If you want it on the photo, you have to use either the Android version of Google Photos or some other app to put the text on there.
Okay. Bill's taking us out now.
Okay. Gotta go. Gotta go.
Time to go. Thanks, everyone.